Hi everyone, I want to start with a small story. Imagine an 8-year-old girl named Lily. One afternoon, Lily is in the kitchen. She wants to help her mom, so she picks up a glass of orange juice, but her hand slips, the glass falls. It breaks on the floor. Before Lily can say anything, her mom turns around and yells, Lily, seriously? What can't you be careful for once? One day you are going to stress me out so much that I'll have a heart attack. Lily freezes. At that moment, she is not just scared of the broken glasses. She is scared of her mom's anger. She is scared that she has hurt her mom. She starts to think, if mom is upset, it must be my fault. So Lily learns to be careful, very careful. She learns to check people's face before she speaks. She learns to guess other people's moods. She learns to say sorry quickly, even when she's not sure what he did wrong. From the one side, people might say Lily is just anxious, but maybe a better question is, what taught Lily to feel responsible for everyone else's emotions? That is the question I want to talk about today. When we feel angry, anxious, shamed, or hurt, we often ask, what is wrong with me? But maybe we should ask a different question. What is this emotion trying to tell me? Today, I want to argue that emotions are not just a problem to fix. They are messages to understand. That does not mean every emotion is right. It does not mean we should believe every thought we have when we are upset. But emotions usually tell us something. They tell us how we understand a situation. They tell us like what we feel. They tell us what we care about. Sometimes they also tell us what old wound is being touched. Let's start with a simple idea from cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT. CBT often uses an ABC model. Like A means activating event, B means belief, C means consequence. Most of us think emotions work like this. Something happens, and then I feel something. For example, my friend does not text me back, so I feel rejected. My professor gives me feedback, so I feel shamed. Someone cuts me off in traffic, so I get angry. But CBT says there is one important step in the middle, our belief, or our interpretation. This is not only the event that creates the emotion, it is also the meaning we give to the event. Let me give you an example. Imagine a college student named Emma. She texts her friend Sarah, like, hey, do you want to grab coffee later? Sarah reads the message but does not reply for 6 hours. Emma looks at her phone and thinks, wow, she saw my message and ignored me. Maybe she is tired of me. Maybe I am too needy. Now Emma feels hurt, embarrassed, and angry. But imagine Emma thinks something different. She thinks Sarah is probably in lab. She always forgets to reply when she's busy. Now Emma may still feel a little disappointed, but she probably does not feel deeply rejected. The event is the same, no reply, but the emotion changes because the meaning changes. This idea is also close to appraisal theory. Appraisal theory says that emotions depends on how we evaluate a situation. In simple words, our brain asks questions like, is this dangerous? Is this unfair? Is this my fault? Can I handle this? What does this mean about me? Most of the time, we answer this question very quickly without even noticing. So emotion is not just a reaction, it's also an interpretation. Let's go back to the broken glasses. Imagine two parents. A child drops a glass. Parent A says, are you kidding me? You are so careless. Now I have to clean up your mess. Parent B says, don't move. There is a broken glass. Are you okay? Let me help. Same child, same glass, same mess. But parent A sees the broken glasses as a disrespect or a failure. But parent B sees it as an accident and a safety issue. So parent A feels anger, parent B feels concern. This shows us something important. Our emotions are not only about what happened, they are also about what we believe happened. But where do these beliefs come from? Many of them come from our past. Attachment theory gives us one way to understand this. Attachment theory suggests that early relationships shape how we understand ourselves and other people. If a child grows up with caregivers who are warm and steady, the child may learn people can be trusted, mistakes can be repaired, I can ask for help. But if a child grows up with caregivers who are unpredictable, critical, or emotionally intense, the child may learn I have to be perfect. Other people's emotions are my responsibility. If someone is upset, I may be rejected. These lessons do not disappear when we become adults. They often follows us into friendships, romantic relationships, school, and work. So when Emma feels rejected by Sarah's later test, it may not only about the Sarah. It may also about the older experience of being ignored or feeling unimportant. The present moment can touch an old wound. That is why saying just calm down often does not help. The feeling is on the surface, but the story is underneath. I like to think of emotions as an iceberg. Above the water, we see anger, anxiety, shame, or sadness. But under the water, there may be deeper beliefs, like I'm not important, I'm too much. If I make mistake, people will leave. If someone is upset, it may must be my fault. If someone hurts me, they must have meant to hurt me. So emotion is what we can see, but meaning is what we need to understand. So the goal is not to just control the emotion. The goal is to understand the story under the emotion. This brings me to another useful idea. Attribution theory. Attribution theory is about how we explain other people's behavior. When someone hurt me, we often ask, why did they do that? And one answer matters. If we think they did that on purpose, we feel one thing. If we think they forgot, we feel something else. If we think they were overwhelmed, we may feel something else again. There's also a simple idea, like do not quickly explain something by bad intention if it can be explained by mistake, confusion, or limitation. In daily life, this means not every hurtful action is a personal attack. For example, imagine you are driving on the highway. A car suddenly cuts in front of you. One interpretation is, this guy is such a jerk. He thinks he owns the road. You may feel rage. Another interpretation is, maybe he did not see me. Maybe he is rushing to an exit. Still not okay, but maybe not personal. You may still feel annoyed, but probably less rage. The behavior is still unsafe. You do not have to like it, but the meaning changes the strength of the emotion. Or imagine your coworker Jason gives a presentation and forgot to mention your contribution. You might think he is trying to steal credit from me. Or you may think he was nervous and forgot, but I may still need to talk to him. Or you may think this has happened 3 times. Maybe this is pattern. There are very different interpretations. They also lead to different responses. That is where reality testing becomes important. Reality testing means we pause and ask, what evidence do I have? What evidence does not support my interpretation? Is this a one-time mistake or a repeated pattern? Have other people noticed this too? What explanation best fits the whole situation? Reality testing does not mean we deny our feelings. It means we should not let our feelings become the only evidence. There is a big difference between saying my feeling is real and saying my interpretation is definitely true. My feeling can be real, but my interpretation still needs to be checked. This matters because many of us learn to accept danger for good reasons. If we have been hurt before, our brain may try to protect us by assuming the worst. If someone grew up being abandoned, a late reply may feel like rejection. If someone grew up managing a parent's emotion, another person's bad mood may feel like their fault. These reactions are not random. They, they may have helped us survive in the past. But the question is, Are they still helping us now? Sometimes old survival skills become adult relationship problems. Let's turn to Lily. Now Lily is an adult. She is dating someone named Mark. One evening, Mark comes home from work. He is quiet because he had a stressful day. Lily immediately asks, "Are you mad at me?" Max says, "No, I'm just tired." But Lily does not believe him. She asks again, "Are you sure? Did I do something wrong? Are you okay?" Mike starts to feel frustrated. Lily feels even more anxious. Soon they are in a fight. But the fight is not really about Mike being tired. It's about Lily's old belief. If someone is upset, it must be my fault. That's why emotional responsibility matters. But emotional responsibility is often misunderstood. It does not mean everything is my fault. It does not mean other people can hurt me and I should just stay calm. It does not mean I shall never feel angry. Emotional responsibility means this. After an emotion is triggered, I have a role in understanding it, checking my interpretation, and choosing my response. Other people may trigger my emotions, but they do not fully own my inner world. At the same time, understanding emotions does not mean accusing harmful behavior. This is very important. Sometimes people say they do not mean it, if this that as if that makes the hurt disappear. But intention and impact are not the same. Someone may be not mean to hurt me, and I may still be hurt. Someone may have a poor emotional skill, and I may still need boundaries. Someone may not be evil, but I may still decide the relationship is not healthy for me. Explanation is not an excuse. Understanding someone's limitation does not mean accepting repeated harm. For example, if a friend forgot my birthday once, maybe I can understand that they were overwhelmed. But if they forget every important event, dismiss my feelings, and never try to repair, then I may need strong boundaries. The goal is not to force a positive explanation for everything. The goal is to let our interpretation match reality. Sometimes the reality is misunderstanding, sometimes the reality is limitation, and sometimes the reality is repeated harm. So far, we have talked about the interpretation, past experience, and reality testing. There is one more piece, values. Strong emotions often show us what matters. Imagine a student named Daniel gets a comment on his paper. This section is unclear. If Daniel does not care much about the class, he may think, okay, I'll fix it. But if Daniel deeply values being smart and competent, that same comment may feel painful. He may think, my professor thinks I'm not good enough. The comment touched a value, competence. Or imagine someone accused you of being dishonest. If honest is one of your core values, that accusation may feel very painful, not only because of what they said, but because it touches something central to who you are. So when an emotion feels very strong, instead of only asking why am I overreacting, we can ask, what value is being touched? What part of me is trying to protect itself? This turns emotion into self-knowledge, and this is the main point I want to leave you with. Emotions are not just noisy. They are information, but they are not final answers. They are like text messages from the mind. Some are clear, some are dramatic, some are useful, some need fact-checking. But we should probably read them before we delete them. So the next time you feel a strong emotion, try asking 5 questions. What happened? What story am I telling myself about what happened? Where did I learn this story? What evidence do I have? What value or need is this emotion pointing to? These questions will not make life painless, but they can make our emotional life more understandable. Let's turn to Lily one last time. As a child, Lily believed my mom's anger is my responsibility. But healing for Lily does not begin when she finally learns how to make everyone happy. Healing begins when she realizes I can care about other people without carrying all of their emotions. I can apologize when I make a mistake. I can repair harm when I cause it. But I cannot live my whole life trying to prevent everyone from being upset. That is not selfish. That is a boundary. Maybe emotion maturity is not about having perfect emotions. Maybe it is about learning to listen to our emotions without being controlled by them. Not suppressing feelings, not balance every feeling on other people, not believing every interpretation right way, but learn to pause, listen, check, and choose. So before we ask, what's wrong with me? Maybe we can ask, what's this emotion trying to tell me? Because emotions are not only a sign of pain, they are also cues of our stories, our wounds, our values, and our needs. And when we learn how to listen to them wisely, they can help us understand not only what hurts, but also who we are and how we want to live. Thank you.